Have you ever had a door slammed completely shut in your face, only to discover that it was the absolute best thing that could have ever happened to you? We have all been there. You feel overlooked, ignored, completely undervalued by the people you thought mattered the most. Rejection carries a brutal sting. It infects your mind, makes you question your inherent worth, and forces you to shrink into the shadows. But what if you could take that exact same sting and forge it into an unbreakable weapon? Today, we are diving deep into the art of turning the tables on rejection. We are pulling timeless, battle-tested wisdom from the Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius to completely flip the script on those who doubt you. Imagine walking through a modern world where every single no does not push you down, but violently propels you forward. Rejection is not the universe punishing you. It is a brutal redirection toward your ultimate greatness. It is time to stop playing the wounded victim in a psychological game you were born to conquer. We are going to unpack 5 elite, real-world strategies to harness the dark power of being ignored. You are letting their pathetic silence dictate your entire value because you are secretly terrified of realizing your own independent strength. Wake up. We are flipping the script. Rule 1. The armor of silence. Imagine the moment it happens. The deliberate cold shoulder, the message left on read, the colleague or friend who walks past you in a crowded room as if you are entirely invisible. Your immediate primal instinct screams at you to react. You want to reach out to desperately fix the bridge or to angrily demand a rational explanation. But here is the Stoic truth. When you chase someone who has actively chosen to ignore you, you are voluntarily handing them the crown to your own emotional kingdom. Welcome to rule number 1, the armor of silence. Silence is not just the absence of sound. It is a profound, strategic withdrawal of your most precious energy. When someone decides your presence is no longer worth their time, you do not shrink. You do not bombard them with messages. You mirror their indifference, but you do it with absolute, unshakable grace. Ignoring those who ignore you is not some petty game of revenge. It is a powerful, undeniable declaration of your own self-worth. Silence is not an absence of power. It is the ultimate concentration of it. Think about the dynamics of your daily life. If a person acts as if you do not exist, let them disappear from your radar. Turn your back and direct your intense focus toward the people and passions that actually elevate you. Keep your necessary interactions brief, cold, and entirely devoid of personal depth. By choosing not to engage in a pathetic, one-sided struggle, you step completely out of their manufactured drama. The ancient Stoics taught us to use this exact silence, not to manipulate the enemy, but to completely master ourselves. This quiet space starves their ego, while giving you the critical room to recalibrate your mind. It reminds you that your core value is never tied to the unpredictable, fleeting approval of a flawed individual. You are desperately exhausting your spirit, trying to force open a door they locked from the inside, completely forgetting that you already own a much larger, sovereign kingdom. Drop the crowbar and walk away. Now that your silence has forged an impenetrable shield, you must learn to govern the chaos trapped inside. Rule 2. The emotional fortress. Let us move to rule number 2. The emotional fortress. When someone cuts you off or turns a blind eye to your existence, your ego usually throws a massive, uncontrollable temper tantrum. You feel an overwhelming, almost primal urge to react. You want to post a cryptic message online, to visibly sulk, or to loudly perform your misery in public, desperately hoping they will suddenly realize what they are missing and validate your pain. Stop right there. Stoicism demands a radically different approach, absolute emotional containment. You must build an impenetrable inner fortress, where your self-esteem is securely locked away, completely untouched by external opinions. When you publicly reveal your struggle, or when you actively beg for their attention, you are doing nothing but bleeding in waters completely infested by sharks. You are voluntarily showing them the exact weak points in your armor. True emotional stability is never a theatrical performance designed for a cheap audience. It is the quiet, unshakable knowing that your worth is never up for negotiation. The ancient philosophers understood that our internal peace should never operate like a fragile pendulum, swinging wildly based on who decides to look our way. True power is not screaming for an audience. It is the cold realization that you do not need one. If they ignore you, you do not perform louder. You turn your gaze completely inward. You continue your daily routines, your professional ambitions, and your physical training with the exact same ruthless, unbroken vigor as before. You might acknowledge the sting of rejection in the absolute privacy of your own mind, but in public, you remain a completely unbothered monument of solid stone. This is not about faking a smile or burying your feelings. It is about actively mastering your own composure. It is proving to yourself that your foundation cannot be cracked by something as utterly trivial as someone else's temporary indifference. You are cheapening your own soul by putting your dignity on clearance, literally begging for a discount version of attention from people who cannot even afford your basic respect. Close the curtains and starve their gaze. Once your emotional fortress is completely secured from within, you must learn how to strategically distance yourself from the enemy. Rule 3. The strategic retreat. Welcome to rule number 3. The strategic retreat. There will inevitably be moments when you cannot simply walk away from the people who have disrespected you. Perhaps they are a coworker you must see every single day or a family member you cannot physically escape. Your instinct in these forced interactions is usually extreme. You either want to act aggressively bitter to show them your anger, or you want to completely submit and act overly sweet to win back their favor. The Stoic master chooses a much deadlier third path. You execute a strategic retreat. You maintain absolute flawless politeness on the surface, but you completely sever all emotional access underneath. You become a psychological iceberg. You offer a simple smile, a brief nod, or a polite morning greeting, but you deliver it with the exact same emotional weight as you would to a complete stranger asking for the time. Your kindness is no longer a transaction seeking their approval. It is simply a reflection of your own civilized nature. You refuse to let their lack of manners degrade your own character. Kindness is your surface shield, but absolute emotional distance is your indestructible armor. You do not block them in a dramatic fit of rage. You simply stop initiating. You stop sharing the intimate details of your life. You stop explaining your choices. When they realize that their cold shoulder has not broken you, but has instead resulted in them losing all access to your inner world, the dynamic completely shifts. They expect you to be angry, to show them that their indifference actually caused you pain. By giving them a perfectly neutral, unbothered response, you completely deprive them of the toxic drama they desperately crave. You regain total control of the environment. Without ever raising your voice, it is a brilliant tactical maneuver. You protect your peace while leaving them utterly confused by your unshakable grace. You are no longer a victim reacting to their rejection. You are a tactician managing a minor inconvenience. You are bleeding out on the battlefield because you stupidly keep offering your genuine warmth to emotional vampires who are only keeping you around to watch you drain. Freeze the supply and strategically retreat. Now that you have completely severed their emotional access, you must forcefully redirect that displaced energy. Rule 4. Shift the gravity. Welcome to rule number 4. Shift the gravity. When you are faced with an absolute rejection, your default human instinct is to completely withdraw. You sit in isolation, endlessly replaying their silence over and over in your head. You start treating their indifference like a massive psychological black hole that is slowly devouring your light. You allow a minor character in your life story to pull you completely off your axis. But Stoicism offers a powerful countermaneuver. It is time to execute a radical shift in your momentum. The true art of detachment is never about passively sitting in the dark and pretending that you are perfectly fine. It is about aggressively throwing your existence into a brand new, vibrant orbit. You must actively counter their suffocating silence by deliberately stepping into the unknown. When they shut the door, you do not stand outside knocking. You simply turn around and walk into a wider world. Push your physical limits in the gym. Explore new, foreign environments. Reconnect with the fierce, loyal tribe of people who actually celebrate your presence. Every new skill you master, every heavy weight you lift, and every genuine laugh you share with your circle is a profound act of rebellion against their rejection. You are not just seeking cheap distractions to numb the sting. You are actively retraining your nervous system to fully understand that their explicit no was actually a forced detour toward your own personal evolution. By expanding your horizons, you add complex layers to your character. You become far more adaptable and infinitely more equipped to handle the unpredictable curveballs of life. Detachment is not about forcing yourself to forget the pain. It is about building a reality so undeniably massive that their rejection simply no longer fits. Stop circling their empty void and start generating your own immense gravitational pull. You are voluntarily locking yourself inside a dark, claustrophobic mental prison of their exact design, while an entire universe is outside, actively waiting for you to step up and conquer it, shift the gravity, and break the orbit. Once your momentum is fully restored, you must now prepare to deliver the final, undeniable strike against your doubters. Rule 5. The ultimate alchemy.
We finally arrive at rule number 5.
The ultimate alchemy. Rejection is the ultimate crucible for human character. When people doubt your abilities, pass you over for a crucial opportunity, or completely ignore your undeniable potential, your fragile ego immediately wants to argue. You want to loudly and verbally convince them of your worth, but Stoicism teaches us a harsh truth. Words are entirely cheap. Instead, you must consciously channel that dark, heavy energy of rejection into building an undeniable empire of raw competence. You embark on a silent, relentless crusade for personal excellence. If they call you uncreative, you quietly build a masterpiece. If they doubt your work ethic, you silently outwork every single person in the room. You climb your own ladder of self-development with such ruthless, unbroken consistency that your ultimate success becomes mathematically impossible to ignore. But here is the critical psychological pivot. This silent revolution is never about seeking their delayed applause or orchestrating a petty revenge. Proving them wrong is simply a fortunate byproduct of finally proving to your own mind what you are truly capable of achieving. You are no longer trying to fit perfectly into their artificial social circles. You are busy building your own. You let your massive, undeniable results speak so incredibly loudly that your old critics cannot even hear themselves think. True alchemy is not changing their mind about you. It is elevating yourself so high that their opinion simply no longer matters. You take the exact heavy stones they maliciously threw to knock you down, and you use them to pave a wide, solid road to your highest possible self. When you truly master this ancient principle, the word no completely loses its venomous sting. It stops being a brick wall and transforms into the exact premium fuel you desperately needed to become absolutely unstoppable in this life. Every single dismissal is just another piece of rough iron thrown into your blazing fire. You are sitting around crying because they refuse to give you a seat at their miserable little table, failing to realize they just handed you the heavy hammer you need to build your own sovereign throne. Forge the gold and reign supreme. We have successfully navigated the dark labyrinth of human rejection together. You are now armed with the 5 unyielding laws of the Stoic fortress. Remember this truth. Every single no you face is no longer a devastating setback. It is a mandatory stepping stone. It is a brutal but necessary lesson in extreme resilience, specifically designed to harden your mind and completely sever your reliance on the fragile approval of others. The emotional exhaustion of chasing validation ends right here, right now. It is time to step into the light of your independent power. I challenge you to weaponize these ancient insights daily. Rejection is simply the universe clearing the path, so your true destiny can finally walk through. If you are ready to stop playing the victim and start ruling your kingdom, hit that subscribe button right now. But do not just watch one single video and fade away. Return to this channel regularly every week. Make this place your ultimate constant training ground for even deeper Stoic lessons and unyielding mental mastery. Drop a bold comment below and officially declare your arrival. If you lack the exact words today, simply type strength in adversity to permanently prove you survived the fire. You did not forge this impenetrable iron armor just to take it off the second someone decides to look your way. Remain unbroken and conquer your fate.